Hello, Trivial Nation, and welcome back to episode 42 of our special March Madness Brackathon here in the studio. Today, we are hitting up a very, very special topic, TV dads.
Yeah.
You love them, you hate them, or you just love to hate them. Either way, we are going to be breaking it down right now. In our opinions, who's going to be the ones to take the cake? So, I've got Zane over here to my right, and then to my even more right, I've got Jordan as well. And just to go ahead and give a breakdown.
Not all right, though.
Ooh. Some of us have lefts.
Yes. Oh. What?
I don't know.
Two lefts don't make a right.
So to break it down for the audience, this is the criteria that we will be looking at today. The criteria for our TV dads are husband, father, and humor.
Okay.
Now, whether you agree or disagree, don't forget to go ahead and let us know in the comments. I'm just the mediator, but I'm also the judge. And I get to have a little bit of fun this week. So thank you all so much for following along with us. Let's go ahead and get down to it right now. For number one, round one, we have Homer Simpson versus Carl Winslow. Out of respect for the animation department in our country, let's go ahead and go with Homer Simpson first.
Okay.
Homer, you are on the clock.
All right, we all know Homer, wonderful TV dad. He can be a little bit rough around the edges. Faithful husband. He's a loving father. He's had his wonderful moments with helping out Lisa and Bart and the other ones that I don't remember. But he's been a great guy, and he's made many of us laugh. I mean, this show has been on longer than any animation ever. So in order for,
It's true.
Gotta love the humor and being able to continue to make us laugh and to create new ways for over 39 years? 30?
Wow.
28?
I think it's like 33. 1989 to 2002 so far.
All right, that's what I got.
Wow, no, Homer, I love that show, and I grew up watching that show, and I love The Simpsons. I love that show. I think it's in its best during the 90s. Anyways, I say all that to say that it's hilarious because Homer is a dumb idiot, and he's a terrible father and a terrible husband.
Whoa,
he's
watch
hilarious. So you got one out of three.
All right?
I love Homer. He's great. He's the lovable idiot, though. When you take him and you put him up against a Carl Winslow, he's the essential dad. He's there for Eddie, Laura. He's there for...
Remind us what show again?
This is from Family Matters.
Okay.
TGIF. Thank God it's Friday on ABC. Ran for almost 9 seasons because he was such an incredible father. Not only is he an incredible father, he's incredible in the community. He was actually a sergeant when the show started. Then he became a lieutenant, and then he was a captain by the end. His mother, Estelle, lived with them. He actually even took in his sister-in-law and nephew, Rachel and Richie, took them in and watched over them. Watched over Steve Urkel. As annoying as Steve Urkel was, and here's my final point. So we've got a husband. He's an amazing husband to Harriet. Wonderful husband. He's a provider. Have you seen that house that they had in Chicago?
Beautiful.
Beautiful home, and I said that was my last point. We talked about him being a father, and the third point would be that he is hilarious. I'll leave you with this last thing. When he would get so annoyed with Steve Urkel, he would have to say this mantra to himself: 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. What the heck is bothering me? And it was always hilarious, and it always brought warm, fuzzy laughs to us on a Friday night.
Zane, do you have a counterpoint?
Nice. I like
Thank
that.
you.
The 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. Way to calm down.
They use that in Daniel Tiger now.
I love that show
Calm
too.
down for children, yeah.
Yeah, he's okay, so he may have so many flaws. It could be lazy, ignorant, but he's great, caring, loving. He's even brave to the end about those that he cares about. He's got blue eyes.
Homer?
So, yeah.
I recall them being black.
I mean, his favorite color is blue.
Oh, okay. I got you. Well, that is different.
Counterpoint to the counterpoint.
Counterpoint to the color of blue eyes.
I would say that, Homer is he's extremely selfish. And a lot of the problems that he gets into are because of all of his selfish decisions. Like the time he moved his entire family to a different state to work at a plant that was run by a supervillain. I don't know if you remember that episode. Yeah,
I do. Twinkies.
No.
Was that not that one?
I think it was it was like a plant, like a nuclear plant that was outrun by, I can't remember, Scorpio, I think. Hank Scorpio.
Wow.
It's hilarious. Again, Homer is
thing.
hilarious, but that's only one aspect. As a father and as a husband, he really, really lacks a lot of credibility.
Gotcha. So I'm going to be approaching this as if I have never seen any of these shows at all. I'm going purely off the information that I've been giving here. So I will go ahead and give a point to Carl for husband, a point to Homer for humor, and the tiebreaker for fatherhood, I'm going to have to go ahead and go for
Crossing your fingers.
Carl Winslow.
Come on!
It's tough.
That was a
It's
tough
tough.
call. It's tough to be the host and judge here.
All right.
You've got such good debaters.
Oh, I
It
can't
is.
wait.
Yeah.
Good debaters. Very
Oh,
good
No
debaters.
problem. Judging you.
All right, so for the next round, we have ourselves Phil Durfee and Danny Tanner.
All right, Phil Durfee.
Dunphy.
Oh,
Dunphy, sorry. Phil Dunphy
Modern Family.
and Danny Tanner.
Family
Now-
Matter. No. Full House. How did I say Family Matter? Danny Tanner's from Full House.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. So, Zane, we had you lead off on the last one. Jordan, you're going to go ahead and lead off on this next one.
Gosh, with Danny Tanner, where do you... Golly, how can you go wrong with Danny Tanner?
Right there, you're done. All
Okay.
right, Phil Dunphy.
Excuse me, sir. I get a little bit more.
Okay.
You went on about Homer for like 3 minutes. So Danny Tanner is not only an incredible father that cares about all three of his children, DJ, Stephanie, and Michelle. He actually is a single father. His wife was killed by a drunk driver, and he's raising these three girls by himself while allowing his best friend, who's down on his luck, comedian, to live there, and his brother-in-law, the brother of his deceased wife, lives there, and he's a host. He's the host of Wake Up San Francisco. He's incredibly successful. So as a provider, as a father, he's incredible. He was an incredible husband. We can't see that anymore because she's gone. But we can see how he is keeping her legacy alive by caring for his girls so deeply and caring for his wife's family who lives with them. He's an incredible father. I'll leave it right there.
Is that
for
it?
now.
Zane, on you.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful what he did for his wife.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to say, though, one of the criteria is husband. Therefore, he is lacking
Wow.
in that area. I'm
By his
sorry
own
about
fault,
what
too.
happened.
Yeah.
Though, but that only leaves you two with to work with. So you got father and humor. So you can go from there. Phil,
Low blow.
he describes himself as a cool dad. He's a devoted family man. He's got his wife Claire. He's constantly trying to find ways to bond with his three children. He uses as a father, he uses a distinct parenting method called parenting. Which is a common combination of talking like a peer, but also acting like a parent. So this is generally where he takes the high road in dealing with difficulties, except when pushed to his limit, as in Fulgencio. Many of you Martin family out there will know what that means. I don't. But I would like to know more. But this is where he turned it to a mafia-like way to solve his family problems. I can relate to this. In some ways, it's being called dictator dad. So I've had to clean up this, do that. So
yes.
He's learned from his mistakes,
Wow.
as have I. And so he uses humor through all these ways and methods, and he's got a unique way of doing this.
So are you also speaking to basically the evolution of his character as well too, to where he's had to learn the hard way from circumstances, while at the same time we didn't get to see Danny learn the hard way? Has he always been like this, or has he always had this specific mindset? Okay, all right, Jordan, counterpoint.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think just by your admission to the parenting, we're showing that he really lacks as a father. He's trying, but he's kind of again, like Homer, kind of a lovable idiot.
Okay.
And so you got to give it to him that he's trying, and I'll give you that. But we're talking about a quality of father. We're using this as a criteria. We're not saying here's a gold medal elite athletes because you did your best. We're giving an award to someone who's doing the best.
Okay.
And Danny Tanner's doing it by himself.
All right. I think
He's a
that's
father
time.
by
I think
himself.
that's time by now, okay?
Final point, Zane.
Final point. Okay. True. Who are we talking about here? Danny Tanner. So
The Danny Tanner, self-described raddest dad ever.
3, 2, 1, no fun.
Oh,
Is that no? So okay,
insulting.
that was a little bit lame, but
Also that.
okay. But you know what? We're talking about Danny Tanner here. This guy had multiple guys helping him out with his father role. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh.
How many men were living in that home to aid a hand and assist and taking them here, doing this there, or making them lunches, making them dinners? Right. This isn't the same thing that we got going on over here with old Dunphy.
You make a really good point there.
So
you got to use that term "men" loosely though, because this is a struggling comic and a struggling musician. So how much were they really able to help Danny out? You know,
if you've seen the show, many times they were
I've
able
seen
to
the
help
show,
him out.
sir.
Many times. Oftentimes he wasn't even in the house
I
because
think
he was
usually-
working.
I think it usually ended up in a fire
Right.
or a car coming through the house. If they helped,
I
we're
think
gonna
he-
say help.
And there was
I
all
think
the
he
cabinets
just-
missing as well too.
I think he just
Exactly.
made a valid point against himself there.
Okay.
Fires.
So I've got to be
cars,
that
and
honest.
homes.
I kind of.
How safe is that for children in a home?
I was expecting this particular argument to be a very one-sided affair, just because. But once again, I'm only approaching it from the viewpoint of what I've been told here, not anything else at all. I am torn on this one right now, actually, between Danny Tanner and
It's a tough one.
Let me help you out there. Dunphy.
I believe that humor-wise, Phil takes the cake.
Okay.
I believe that father-wise, Danny takes the cake. Now, here's where I'm coming into conflict with the husband, because both points were brought up very, very well to the fact of, well, yes, Danny Tanner isn't particularly a husband now. I do believe that even after the death of the wife, he was still carrying that on.
He was. So
I
we're doing
didn't
was
hear
husband?
much. I didn't hear much to the argument of the husbandry of Phil.
Oh, point counterpoint.
So with that right there, I'm going to have to go ahead and vote with Danny Tanner.
Come on,
Oh man.
come on.
Danny Tanner, and it was tough. If I would have heard just a little bit more about the husband aspect of Phil, I might have went more with Phil, because yes, while Danny Tanner holds a special place in all of our lives right now, especially after recent circumstances, I don't know. I was very torn. It was like a 51 to 49 kind of vote type for me. Next up, we have.
That one hurt.
Next up, we have. That was very well argued. I got to be that honest. That was very well argued.
See how a guy that was not a husband currently. That's all right. Let's move on.
Yeah, and if you would have brought up the arguments of Fuller House, where he kept on having failed relationships afterwards, I might have been able to vote with you as well. However, we weren't able.
That's a good point. All
We
right.
didn't have those points brought up.
Cloudy with a chance of bitterness.
Ooh, so I had to stick to my
Dad
morals throughout the entire thing. Next up, we have Al Bundy and Phillip Banks. Al Bundy and
Alright.
Phillip Banks.
Man, this is totally lopsided over here. I got Homer, Al Bundy, Peter Griffin. Got all
This
these
was drawn out of a hat. If
upstanding-
we're,
It
can
was-
we
it
be
was drawn
completely
out of a
fair?
Very
hat.
true.
It-
Very
it-
true.
it was drawn
the
out of
whole
a hat.
bracket month, everything about it has been drawn out with the hats. This kind of just the way that it.
It's the way the cookie crumbles. Jordan, you led us off last time. Zane, we're going to go ahead and lead with you now.
All right, where are we at here? Al Bundy.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
What can I say? This guy, he loves Peggy. They have their disagreements here and there, but he loves her in his own way. You know, this is a man that played football in high school, a rough and tumble guy, a guy that is humble in his humility to be able to be a shoe salesman. You know, he can lower himself, if you will. I know you used to be a shoe salesman as well. My apologies. No jokes over there.
I've never seen the show. I've never
But
seen the
he
show.
is, and he might be an anti-feminist. He might visit some strip clubs. He might make some other stuff.
Strike three and you're out.
But he has a pretty cool car. So, you know, and as far as fatherhood, I mean, his daughter, she's out running around with multiple men.
I'm sorry.
And,
Are you helping me?
All right, Jordan's point. That was your time. Sorry.
It's really unfair that Phillip Banks of all of these dads got compared to him. I mean, let's just start as a husband. Phillip Banks is an incredible husband to Vivian. He deeply cares about the romance in the relationship. There are several examples where he's being intentional. And there's one episode where a woman from the past comes in from before Vivian, and he flat out rejects her and says, "I've already got the best." I mean, if that's not winner of the husband category. He's a judge and a lawyer that participated in the civil rights movement. He is still when the show was running, was still making waves in the civil rights movement. He has his children are incredibly successful, and that's due to him being successful and driving them to be successful just like he was. And then let's just take him a step further as a father. He took in Will Smith, played by Will Smith. We all know that, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. This is Phillip Banks is from Fresh Prince, if we didn't review that. He comes in from Philly, rough and tumble, horrible past. He doesn't have a father. His father's in and out throughout the series, and he takes him under his wing, and he shows him how to be a man. So he's a husband, father, but some of their arguments with Phil and Will, he is hilarious, and he'll mop the floor with Will, which is great. So I love his tough love for Will. So I think he checks all three boxes.
Very nice.
Counterpoint. 15
Very
seconds.
nice. He's a very upstanding man of his community. But
Indeed. Good point. Thank you for adding that.
The backhand. No,
That would help you.
maybe.
Something Al
What
Bundy
that
might
for
do.
some? Yeah. Whoa. It's, coming in here. No. He's got he's a sweetheart.
Going Italian. By the way, just in case you get to see, he's going like this. He's like,
Okay, so him and Peggy were high school sweethearts. He's been a wonderful husband with her. Father. He is present in their lives. And he's funny. So, there you go.
That's debatable.
Do you feel like you need a counterpoint, or do you rest your case?
I rest my case. I feel like what he just said about Al and the subpar that he argued it.
I don't know. It's tough, man. Al, I got a quote here. It's like Al admits that he kind of likes pegging the children.
It's not even the way that he argued it. It's the subject. He's an excellent debater. It's the subject that he has to work with. Is so pathetic.
With right now.
Yes,
is not fair.
Then I rest my case.
However,
you're gonna go with Al Bundy, aren't you?
Phillip Banks.
Oh, that's
Banks.
Phillip Banks.
It's a good decision.
It's a tough one to see.
Phillip Banks. All right. Now for our last bit of criteria, we have ourselves Peter Griffin and Tim the Toolman Taylor. Zane, you led off on this last one. Jordan, it is your turn.
Oh my gosh. Tim Taylor. Tim the Toolman Taylor. Tim Allen. Father of the 90s. One of the top 10 fathers of the 90s. Hilarious. When he goes over to visit Wilson for advice, and it would be some awesome proverb, and he would come over and he would tell Jill, and he would just completely mangle it. And it was just always beautiful. She'd always be like, "What are you talking about? This doesn't make any sense." But Wilson helped him work through that. So that was the humor aspect of it. He was always getting hurt, blowing stuff up. If you remember, he had his show Tool Time, and something would happen, and he'd say something stupid, and then his sidekick Al would just say, "I don't think so, Tim." And Al was always the favorite, but it was always that the chemistry there was always great. He always found his way back to Jill and their relationship. He was always able to bring that back, even when they had tough times where a guy tried to come in and hit on Jill. They were able to work it out and figure out their relationship. And then his sons, very successful sons. They knew they were loved. They were very well taken care of. So I think husband, A+, father, A+, hilarity, A+++. I mean, the guys, if you go back and watch those clips, I advise you, I went back and did a research on a lot of these guys, and that is where I laughed the most, was with Tim Taylor. So I'll just leave it right there.
Gotcha. Zane, point.
All right. Peter Griffin, otherwise known as Peter Lowenbrough Griffin. So,
I love it.
It's challenging. To say the least. He's a faithful man to his job. He shows up every day. He's faithful to his friends. He's got great friends around him. minus Quagmire.
I was going to say the
Maybe.
pervert? Or...
Yeah, I don't know so much about him. But, yeah, and, you know, he's been a great father to his children.
Did you hit rewind and then play?
I'm trying to think, how are we going to work with these two guys that are very similar? And, yeah, but he does make us laugh. So I'll focus on that end of where, you know, Peter, throughout the episodes and through his different just methods and the way that he is able to just act like an idiot and provide us with entertainment has been just making us laugh for many, many years.
Gotcha. Jordan, counterpoint.
Yeah, I think what he just said is maybe putting him on the same scale as the same level of humor with Tim Taylor, which makes it difficult for you in that one area of criteria. But when you look at husband and father, he pales in comparison to in the way that he treats Lois and the way that he treats Meg. Just those two people alone absolutely will make it very difficult for you to give him any points on those others. That's all I would say. That's
yeah, if I'm going to attack, you know, the tool man, because he doesn't know how to use tools. So he can be a hindrance to everyone around him by his usage of these tools and creating havoc and harm all in his way, which has been seen in episodes where things have fallen down, where things crash, burn, all this type of stuff. So, I mean, that can be very troublesome as, you know, looking to his wife, children, you know, and is that really safe to create a humorous environment by breaking and destroying stuff to those that you love?
Wow.
So you would say that Tim is a destructive person, like a homewrecker?
Yes, a home wrecker,
I think,
if you will.
Could I have one?
Yeah.
Did you just say homer wrecker?
No, I almost did.
That was close. That was nice.
It would have been a Freudian slip. Homer's already been wrecked, though. Here's what we're doing. Here's what we're doing is we're going back and we're looking at a series and we're saying that this is really dangerous to the family. But I watched the last episode and everybody was all better for knowing Tim.
Right.
And being raised by Tim being married to Tim. So I feel like it all worked out and it built character.
One episode did that to you, huh?
The finale. Now, you said
what
this
about all the other ones where he's hurting, injuring people?
Mostly just hit his own head. That's what
Himself.
happened.
So how is he going to be a dad and a husband if he's not there?
That's a great question. And I guess my counterpoint to that is he's there till the end.
All right. Fair enough.
All right. You have 15 seconds for your counter.
Done.
Got it. Okay. All right. Once again, great debates on both sides right there. I'm looking at this as though I have never seen any of these shows, and I'm going purely off of, you know, what was just said right here. With that right there, and this may seem controversial, I will be going with Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Tim the Toolman Taylor.
And with that right there and that sweep right there, we are going to be going into our first break. Be sure to take a listen to our sponsors, and we will be right back. And we're back. Thank you so much for giving that a listen. I'm sure your minds have been blown. So, next up in our, quarterfinals, right?
We're here.
Quarterfinals, right? We're in the
Good call.
quarterfinals. We've made it to the quarterfinals already. Let's go. So next up in our quarterfinals with TV Dads, we have Carl Winslow versus Danny Tanner. If I remember correctly, Zane, you led off on the last one. So Jordan, you're going to go ahead and lead off on this one with Danny Tanner.
Okay. I don't want to sound like a broken record here. I might, at risk of sounding like a broken record. I'm going to go ahead and just say again, single father of 3 children who took in the brother-in-law of his deceased wife. Again.
Unbelievable.
Well, I mean, if it's a strong point, you got to stick with it. Also, I think that shows him as a husband continuing her legacy, taking care of her family. That's huge. If he didn't like that part of the family, he could have said, "Scram, you're out of here. I don't even have any connection to that anymore. She's gone. She's gone, Jesse DePopoulos, or whatever his name was. Get out of here." And then Becky tries to move in. Becky, his co-host on Wake Up San Francisco, is Jesse's wife. She lives there too. And of course, you still got struggling comedian Joey. Does a little Bieber. You all remember that?
Oh.
He lets him live with him. This guy is gold. And then every time that DJ has a problem, maybe with struggling with her weight, he's right there. Stephanie has trouble being bullied. He's right there. Michelle is growing up without a mother, as a young girl. And there he is as a father to swoop in and take care. And he even has his corny dad jokes.
What in the world?
All right, Zane, you're
Is it a
go.
hair Pastor Freckle?
Pastor Freckle. Broken record indeed. Goodness. Playing off of the loss of his wife. Man.
It's a valid point, friend.
Yeah, you're right. It is a valid point whenever it comes to husband criteria.
Indeed.
Very valid point. I'm going to tread that line very carefully, though.
Indubitably.
All right, we're talking about Carl Winslow, Mr. Pillar of his community, lover of donuts in the police department. Chicago, of all places. It's dangerous around there. He's putting his life out on the line every single day going out there in Chi-Town. He's doing this for his family. He's even so kind and hard whenever you get Urkel over there, right? Brings him in, feeds him. Urkel can go through his pantry, treating him like family. He's been a great father to his kids. He'll have one-on-one personal talks with his son, about manhood and stuff like that. This is shown in the show. Shown also with his daughter about showing up to her school and being there for her events and certain things like that. So this is a man that is not only a policeman, but takes time, out of his day to leave there and be able to go and make wonderful opportunities for his children. And Harriet, they've got a wonderful, is that her name? Help me out. Harriet. Harriet.
Yeah.
I have seen the show. That they are, I like their chemistry back and forth, and what's great about it is it's husband and wife chemistry. Whereas Danny Tanner, we don't get the husband and wife chemistry. I mean, we're just being real here with the criteria. This isn't real world situations. This is, TV.
Yeah.
Fictional.
Yeah.
All right,
We're
Jordan,
based on
you have
criteria.
10 seconds for your counterpoint.
Speaking of real world, there was times where he was not gracious with Eddie. He just punished him and didn't really give him explanations. He allowed a wild, nerdy pervert to hang around his daughter, and he eats donuts all the time. What does that say about how much he cares about his family if he's okay just destroying his body?
Okay.
Zing, counterpoint.
Nice. Danny Tanner. Again, not to sound like a broken record. There's 6 hands. There's 6 hands in there helping this guy out. So what?
Four of them incompetent. Go on.
Well, I don't know. There have been talks that they had with the daughters in there in different rooms. He's in there playing the guitar. They'll have like a dad to moment. What do they call them? Uncle talks with the other daughters and stuff. So it's very confusing. Whenever you got 3 men in the household trying to parent and father these children. Right. I mean, I appreciate the ability that they were there to help out. And I get all that. And I feel for the wife. And I'm sorry that tragedy had to happen. But in the end, what we have here is a man, right? A man that is taking care of these children with 2 other guys.
Interesting.
And I'm not sure so much of the humor came from him. I think it was more of the other characters in the show.
That's quite an accusation.
Okay.
Interesting. So, I would like to say that these are both very, very good arguments. Some great points were brought up. Some old points were brought up as well, too. And some new points were brought up. And with that right there,
He said a whole lot without saying anything.
All right.
I loved it.
I loved it. This is just strictly off of what I have heard this episode. I'm going to have to go with Carl Winslow.
Oh, yes.
Carl
Yes,
Winslow
sir.
over
He's a
Danny
good father.
Tanner.
He's a good father. They're both good fathers.
Both are great fathers. I think so as well, too. I just think that some great points were brought up. More so for Carl Winslow's side. However, Danny, excellent father as well. And rest in peace, Bob Saget as well, too.
Yes.
Ultimate respect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, next up we have Phillip Banks versus Tim the Toolman Taylor. Jordan, you started off with the last one, so Zane, it is your turn to start with this one.
All right. So yes, this guy does destroy stuff. He breaks stuff. I get it.
And who are you representing?
No, Tim the Tool Man.
Tim the Tool.
Had to do that.
That was
the
good.
man. So yeah, he is a man though. He knows how to. He may not know how to use them precisely, but he does have his own tool show. So this is a successful man that has created his own show, has a great buddy there working with him, and as providing for his family as a husband and father. And through this, he's able to add comedic relief for the show. This is why people tune in to the Tool Man show on the show. Right? This is a show within a show. It's like Inception.
It is like Inception.
I get bonus points just for that. Right? So this guy.
That's our criteria, right?
Yeah,
Comparing
Tim.
it to another movie. Oh wait, no, that's not on.
All right, Jordan, your go.
Okay, I would just say Phillip Banks, definitely a safer individual, is not constantly subjecting his family to all sorts of damage, fire, as it was brought up earlier, all sorts of damage that could have been inflicted upon his family. And that's very irresponsible as a father. And I would say he is a judge. He is a lawyer. He's highly, highly successful. They live in Bel Air. That's one of the most wealthy places in the United States. And so I would say he's an incredible, responsible father. And there's nothing greater of a man than a man that stands up for truth and justice. And he fought for the civil rights movement. Again, he was there for that. He fought for that. That is the true definition of a man, standing up for what's right. He loves Vivian. He takes care of Vivian. She wants for nothing. And when Will Smith comes in with all his little jokes, he ain't got nothing on Phil. Phil tears him up one side and down the other. He always takes care of business. And then they have that smart aleck butler, Jeffrey. Phil takes care of him too. They come at him with fat jokes for comedic relief for Will Smith, but Phil's always got something to come back. Because he's a successful judge, politician, lawyer. You can't really touch that.
Interesting. Zane, 10 seconds.
Very interesting. Yes. You mentioned the weight issue. Right. And he's a lawyer. I think he's more focused on his career and himself. More so than doing that. He kind of dismissed some of his kids, some of the times, children, not really being there and exactly those things. He's out of many of the scenes, so he's not in the show that much, thus implying that he is out trying to make a career more so for himself.
I don't think that's not really true to the show. I think that was convenient to create your own little narrative there. But what I would say is Tim is constantly on the set of his cable show that nobody really watches. You mentioned successful, but I think 10 people watch it, and Bob Vila is much more successful than Tim the Toolman Taylor will ever be.
Well, it shows in the audience every time that they have the Tool Show that it's filled with the audience of spectators watching.
There's
the show.
more people at the filming in the studio than watching the TV.
Lawyer.
Time. So between the arguments of Phillip Banks, I love it. It's getting a little hot in here. All right, let's go. Woo. I love it. So between the arguments of Phillip Banks and Tim Taylor, I do believe that great arguments were brought up on both sides. However, for this argument, I will have to go with Phillip Banks.
Okay.
All right, so for the argument of Carl Winslow versus Phillip Banks, we have Zane representing Carl and Jordan representing Phillip. Gentlemen, if you guys want to do a rock, paper, scissors to be able to see who gets to start off first.
1, 2, 3, shoot.
Of course.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, shoot.
1, 2, 3, shoot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let me hit it.
No, you're good.
You hold the scissors out.
All right.
There you go.
All right, Jordan will be leading. Jordan, you are on the clock.
Now, if I won, I get to choose who goes first, right?
Yeah, sure, let's do that.
Okay, Zane, you go first. I want to hear what he has to say so I can then destroy it.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Oh, that does not sound fun. All right, I got Carl Winslow.
You do. What
has not been said about this man already? I look up to this guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's got Harriet. He's got Eddie and Laura. You got Judy. I mean, he's got three kids. He's got his mother that's always coming over there. I remember an episode of them doing a estate sale or garage sale from his mother's stuff in the house. So he was willing to welcome her in with all of the stash and stuff that she has and say, hey, yeah, come on, bring it all over. You can use my home. It's open to you, to Urkel, to whatever it might be. And he takes the role of being a breadwinner seriously in his home. He tends to enjoy the role of being a humble man of the house.
Wow.
So he does that, and he
Phil.
concedes to his wife often, showing that he is willing to place himself second in the marital role. So
Interesting.
he also is very wise with his money. Oftentimes he'll go out and get quotes for things that are like, this is going to cost this much.
Mm-hmm.
But a passion of his is to build stuff. So rather than going to spend loads of the family money on his police salary, he's willing to take the time, invest his time with his son Eddie, and build stuff for the family that must be necessary to use. So open doors. Go ahead.
Interesting. All right, Jordan, you're on the clock.
Yeah, no, I would just say all those things about Carl are true. All of them are. And you have Carl's a public servant, and so is Phil. But at the end of the day, we're talking about a father. We're talking about a father that in Carl, that when Eddie came home and had a couple beers, he said, you don't ever do that again or you're out of here. Whereas I remember Will coming home to Phil after making big mistakes and him not rejecting him and saying, you're out of here. He basically said, hey, this annoys me, but I still love you, and never threatened to kick him out. Eddie, at that point, was like, if I do this again, if I screw up again, I'm done. And then I hate to go back to it again, but you talked about doing stuff himself. You basically said he was cheap, and he does stuff by himself. A lot of times that ended up in disaster, and he allowed a meddling teenager in their home all the time. And I think for the daughter, that was extremely stressful. So as a father, I don't think he really protected Laura as much as he could, is what I would say. And if we're looking at him as a husband, he never frustrated Vivian as Carl frustrated Harriet. I remember Harriet getting extremely hot with Carl, with his antics and his cheapness and his allowing Urkel
I think
to
we're
come
safe
in.
there.
You've got 10 seconds for a counter.
Dang, how long was that? 2 minutes?
Well, that was his first. That was his first argument.
I'm getting from counter. Okay, so what we're talking about here basically is a courtroom judge in Phillip Banks,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And so that's what you
Outstanding.
got, day in, day out, pounding his gravel. Unfortunately for him, this has created.
The gravel?
After he was done with the gavel, started pounding gravel. What this did to this
What does
man
that even mean?
was create a short temper. We saw this many times in episodes over the years of where he was short with his wife, short with his children, angry, frustrated, had to retire to go listen to his jazz. He had a problem with the way that he expressed his feelings to his family.
10 seconds for his...
Then, plus...
I'll even let him finish. I only got 3 seconds to say.
Okay. So, and this will be with him for many years to come.
He dealt with his emotion in a way that he knew would relieve those negative emotions by listening to jazz.
Anger and yelling is never a way to deal with your emotions.
Listening to jazz is a good way.
That
mellow
invoked
out.
defense mechanisms in his children and his wife. They were fearful about confronting them about their issues and their personal stuff.
I don't know if we're talking about the same show anymore.
There are walls built up between Phillip Banks and Harriet.
No.
Nope, that's the wrong one.
That's not even his wife. It's Vivian.
Vivian?
He wasn't dancing around with Harriet.
Oh,
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So once again, I am judging this criteria specifically off of what I heard today, not off of my own viewership of these particular episodes themselves. So with that right there, I have to go ahead and say the argument of Carl Winslow being represented by Zane and Phillip Banks being represented by Jordan, my final decision, and there shall be no question to it, as I am a judge.
Wow.
And this
you got your gravel ready.
Laying that gravel down.
I've got my gravel to the ground.
Pound your gravel.
To the winner is Phillip Banks, ladies and gentlemen. Of the
Well
Fresh
deserved
Prince
by
of Bel-Air.
Phillip Banks.
Yes.
Well
Yes.
deserved by Phillip Banks.
I
well deserved.
absolutely agree. Phillip Banks was was a great role model,
Yeah.
great father. In that, yeah, for sure.
Good guy. So's Carl Winslow. We had some great dads. Great dads
Yeah,
to
that
choose
was a
from.
tough.
Yeah,
tough
that
battle
was a
there.
tough one. Tough one, but well fought. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury of love, go ahead and let us know. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Who would you have picked throughout these different rounds? Be sure to go ahead and let us know in the comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz.
Ring that bell.
Until next time, I'm Juan, and keep it classy.
And I'm 2. Stay straight.
I'm Jordan, and I'm done.
See ya.